Please help me welcome His Excellency Dimitris Droutsas.
Dear Marvin, ladies and gentlemen, αγαπητοί φίλοι και φίλες for the Greek Americans amongst you, I'm especially proud to be addressing the Los Angeles World Affairs Council, one of the leading and most eminent public affairs forums in the United States. I know the council motto is to bring the world to Los Angeles, as you said, so thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you about Greece. And normally I say that I'm bringing with me the nice weather from Greece, the sun. This time I will claim that I brought the rain to Los Angeles. So I also look forward also to our discussion and the exchange of ideas after my brief address to you. And as Marvin already said, you can hear out a little bit of an Austrian accent that you should be used here in Los Angeles. So ladies and gentlemen, only 6 months ago the standard litany was that economic disaster was about to befall Greece and then spread to the Eurozone and the world financial markets. Only 6 months ago Greece was seen as a country on the verge of bankruptcy and begging to be saved by the European Union and the International Monetary Fund. Today we are growing our way back to creditworthiness and to restoring our credibility, Greece's credibility. And I proudly say here today that we have given the lie to pessimists. The Greek government has proven its determination to tackle the crisis head-on. We have delivered to our commitments, even exceeded targets, even confounded expectations. In a brief time span, actually in a matter of a few months, we have brought about the most radical and far-reaching reforms in modern Greek history. And allow me to mention some of those reforms to give you a picture of what our government, what the Greek people did in the last few months. We have reduced government expenditure by around 8% and are well on our way to cut the deficit by 40% until the end of the current year. We have revamped our tax system to minimize the scope of tax evasion and to ensure that those with the means are paying their fair share. Our policies are designed to restore trust in state institutions and the rule of law, so that people will pay their taxes if they trust the government to collect them both justly and use them wisely. We have enacted new legislation to overhaul the debt-ridden pension system, inter alia by increasing retirement age and reducing benefits. You can imagine that reforming your pension system is quite a courageous political act. I can say that for the past 2 to 3 decades, no good government had dared to touch upon this very dangerous issue in political terms. Our government did this in 2 to 3 weeks. We have taken hard measures to shrink and overhaul the bloated public sector in Greece. We are instilling financial rectitude by making governance more transparent, restoring trust in state institutions and sweeping away a system and practices that allowed corruption. Yes, I do not shy away of using this word, graft, mismanagement and tax evasion to thrive. Starting with the freight industry, we have adopted measures to open up the many closed shop professions in Greece that are blamed for keeping the Greek economy isolated and uncompetitive. And whoever is able to follow the Greek media and what is happening in the past days in Greece, mostly Greek Americans amongst you, you will have realized that this is a battle the Greek government is right now giving against these closed shop professions. We have promoted a major administrative reform, very important, trimming the layers of government and curtailing the ensuing bureaucracy. Just to give you a couple of figures, a couple of numbers, the number of prefectures in Greece was reduced from 57 to 13, and that of municipalities from over 1,200 to about 325. We have launched Open Government, Open Gov as we call it, an e-governance tool to encourage greater public participation in policy making and open recruitment for senior governmental posts. And I remember President Barack Obama talking about a similar mechanism here in the United States in his address to the United Nations General Assembly only a few days ago. Such a system like this e-government system, OpenGov, accounts for more meritocracy and less clientelism in our country. And our aim is to become the most transparent country in the European Union. And we have passed also several measures to encourage entrepreneurship and to attract investment to Greece, to our country. In short, I dare to say we have turned a fiscal crisis into an opportunity to push through necessary reforms that had been put off by successive governments afraid of the potential political costs. Greece also has huge untapped investment potential, from solar power to organic agriculture, green tourism to high-tech infrastructure and shipping. The state alone has assets worth over 360 billion US dollars, roughly equivalent to our public debt, which are largely unexploited until now. So I want to say Greece is not a poor country, but it was a poorly managed one. And our resources, our environment, and our human capacity were not being used prudently, equitably, or sustainably. And this we are going to change. With the support mechanism from the European Union and the International Monetary Fund, our borrowing needs are covered until 2012. And on this point, I would like to emphasize that this package that we received is not a handout or a bailout, as has sometimes been erroneously stated. The loan we took will be paid back in full and with substantial interest. And this package that we received, this support package, came with strict conditionality for our country. The implementation of our 3-year program is closely monitored through 12 quarterly reviews. And let me quote a couple of sentences of the most recent quarterly review the IMF and the European Union issued, and I think these were very encouraging sentences and very encouraging things that this report said. It praised inter alia the impressive start of our program. The important reforms are ahead of schedule. The quantitative performance criteria that have all been met. The impressive progress being made on structural reforms. The landmark pension reform I was talking about, which is far-reaching by international standards, or the vigorous implementation of the fiscal program. So the support mechanism offered by the European Union and the IMF was not only a contract with Greece to make the necessary changes, it was also a vote of confidence in Greece's capabilities to carry them through. And this is exactly what we are doing. So I would like to take this opportunity of our today's gathering to respond also to a persistent rumor, which is called default. Default is not an option for Greece. All our Herculean efforts, if you like, during the past year have been geared to ensure Greece does not default. May I also say that those who hope to make a fortune by betting on a Greek default should be hedging the bets, while those who invest in Greece, in the new Greece, will share in our success. Gloomy predictions about social explosion and mayhem in the streets of Greece have not materialized. Yes, there have been protests and demonstrations. how could it be otherwise in a democracy, and particularly as vivid as in Greece? But they have been restrained since early May, and may I say this very clearly, the images the world saw about Greece in some of the media and on TV are not representative of the Greece of today, and certainly not representative of the Greece of tomorrow that we are building, that the Greek people are building. So as evidenced by the polls, I'm not a real fan of polls, but it is a very important and useful tool in politics. The majority of people fully understand the scope of what is being attempted and back our government's actions. Ladies and gentlemen, the ancient Greeks said that η αρχή είναι το ήμιση του παντός, or well begun is half done. But we are fully aware that we are not out of the woods yet. We definitely have our work still cut out for us. And the psychological factor remains of major importance. We must continue confronting the problems and promoting reforms in all seriousness, and this must be made visible to everyone, particularly in the international arena. This is the only way to generate the trust needed almost on a daily basis with the world markets and, most importantly, with our own citizens, without whom nothing can be achieved. We have the heart to will both the ends and the means. We want our record not only to reflect, but actually to exceed our language. To fully convince the international markets that Greece means business, we are now determined to focus in the next few months on those reforms that will allow the country to fulfill its potential and to soon claw its way back on the path to long-term stability and growth.